Alright, what is up? I figured this would be a cool place to film a YouTube video. In a hot tub. It's like negative 10 degrees outside. So you got all this like steam coming up. This looks really cool, and I'm smoking a cigar. This is my brother-in-law and I's favorite cigar. It's called the Banker. I don't know, man. Just leaning into that whole thing. You make money, you smoke cigars. This one's called the Banker. Like, I'm 24, let me live. But I wanted to make a video. Actually isn't business related really at all. I wanted to talk about how to practice presence and how to be present in every moment, because I really think that you can do and achieve anything and be to others what they need from you if you can learn how to be present. And since I've had a kid, since I've had a son, you know, I've realized that, like, you know, we're coming up on having 8 members on our sales team. By about Q2 we should have about 8. Look at all that steam, man. You can't even see me. I hope you can hear me. We'll have about 8 on the sales floor. We'll have a bunch of coaches, from some finance people, just a bunch of moving pieces, right? And, you know, how do you do it all? How do you manage to be a good husband, a good father, have all these moving pieces and have everything happening all at once, right? And I really, as I'm maturing, I'm just gonna wipe off the thing, see if it gets any clearer. There we go. As I'm maturing, I'm realizing that presence is the secret. So wherever you are, just be there, right? Never being one place, but then in your head being somewhere else. Not allowing yourself to go there, right? Is there a way that I can keep this thing good? I think we're just gonna have to deal with that. So I want to talk about how to develop presence and how to just be more present. And I don't think that I'm the best at it, but I just think I'm a lot better than I once was. And I think it's really easy. You know what I'm realizing? Whenever I wipe it down with my finger, that liquid just freezes. So I think it just needs to stay dry. Okay. I don't think I'm the best at it, but I think I'm pretty good. Because in the past, I don't think I would have been able to do all this, right? I think in the past, I definitely would have, just reflecting, and you guys can scroll back on my channel even, and see, you know, I mean, I've been making YouTube videos for, 5 years, and I might appear one way in those older videos, but I was definitely a different way. You know, I was definitely putting on something, because I didn't believe that I was worthy of the things that I really wanted. So I'd see other people on the internet who were a certain way, and I'd be like, oh, that's a good formula, that works, I'm just gonna do that, right? Kind of just like adopting their way of being, so that I felt like I could have something that I wanted, instead of just being myself, right? But anyway, I'm just gonna talk through this steam. I'm not gonna worry about it, because if I keep worrying about this steam, I'm not gonna make a good video. Maybe you could just listen. Yeah, it's just gonna be white. I'm like in my head thinking, do I need to make another video and stop this one? No. See, it comes back every now and again. You can sort of see me every now and again. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna talk. So, how do you be present? How do you learn how to be present? Because you can do it all if you learn how to be present. And presence is this gift that you can give to the people in your life too. You know, it's a gift that you can, especially if you're in a leadership position, right? And I believe that being married, I'm the leader of my home. That's how I see things. And not everybody sees it that way. That's how I see things. And your job really, turn that off, it's too loud, is to just give everybody what they need in that moment, right? And like right now, I'm giving myself something that I need. It's a Sunday, and I'm not really doing anything. I spent some time on Slack today a little bit. I hit the gym, and I'm just in a hot tub, smoking a cigar, being nice and present. And I think you see a lot of people burn out over time. A lot of business owners burn out, or even just fathers or parents, burn out because they never learn how to be present. So what do I mean when I say present? Like, what does that even mean? I think it means just being where your feet are. I think it means not needing anything out of the present moment that isn't currently like there. And living in a state of just a lot of gratitude for what is right in front of you. Right. And when you have those qualities, you really ascend past a lot of the problems that tend to plague humankind. So a lot of those problems are sourced in a need for something that you can't have in the present moment. You might be able to have it in the future, but you can't have it right now. Right? Needing something that isn't there, which creates this disconnect between the present moment and the future. Right? Well, really, it creates a disconnect between yourself right now and the present. And the present is really all you have. When you boil it down, all you have is the present. You can only do things in the present. You can plan for the future, but it's a series of present moments and how you show up in those moments between now and that future that defines whether that future becomes a reality. And so, if you find yourself disconnected from the present, and I disassociated a lot as a child. My family went through some stuff, and don't get me wrong, I have actually an amazing family. I have a great relationship with everybody. But we went through some stuff, and I disassociated a lot. And I think I took that habit of disassociating into my adulthood. And when things get hard or aren't exactly the way that I thought they'd be or whatever, I tend to just turn off. Right? I tend to just be like, this isn't real. This isn't happening to me. Whatever, And I think that that's the enemy of being a conscious creator of your reality. There's really two modes of being. Life is happening to me, or this life is just the series of the decisions and actions that I've made. The decisions that I've made and the actions that I've done. And the latter is significantly more empowering. It's a little more scary, but it's more empowering to believe that you are where you are because of decisions that you've made, And right now, I'm just building a big thing. There's not a lot of reward right now. There's a good bit of profit. There's a good amount of profit with the business and everything. There's also a good amount of profit, if you call it that, with my parenthood journey. There's been some moments that have just made it really worth it so far. Mostly with my wife, not really with the baby. Not that I don't love the baby, but it's he needs Lily, my wife, a lot more than he needs me right now. So really the meaningful moments for parenthood have just been patience, and then my wife seeing what I'm capable of. Because we were both a little afraid that I wouldn't be able to be a parent and do business. I was really afraid of that. And I literally had the thought should I scale everything back? Should I turn it all off? Because can I even do this? And those were all just irrational fears. Because you can do anything if you just commit to doing it and are willing to solve the objective problems that come with it. Right? Trying to keep this thing lit. If I keep talking, I won't keep it alive. And I think the key there is committing to doing it. Because if you truly are I'm going to do this, hell or high water, I'm gonna do this. You can just about do anything. I really believe that. I think life is like a game, you know, but some people see life as like a cage. It's really sad. And then what's scary about that is if you see life as a game or you see life as a cage, either way you're right, because you end up responding to it as such, right? And if you see life as a game, you see life as this thing that you can build and create with, and this unique opportunity that God's given you to design something, you know, design your whole life. Then, well, this thing is like sticky from the ice. It's crazy. This is a gift one of my mentors gave me for my first $200,000 month. It doesn't really work that well anymore. Works okay. But if you see life as a game where you can design stuff, like, you know, imagine playing a new video game. Like a brand new video game that you've never played before, right? And you're learning how to play it. But while you're learning how to play this new game, in the room is like something crazy happening. Like your dogs are fighting. You got two dogs and they start to fight. Or, you know, I don't know, something's happening, right? There's like a loud conversation in the room. It's really distracting. Or who knows what, right? It's a challenging new game. But something else is happening in the room that is keeping you from being focused. It's like, you know, if it was already ritual, if you were already good at the game, it was already habitualized, you could deal with distractions. But it's new. And that's life. Life is constant change. It's always new stuff, right? So that's the same as like trying to do new things in life without being present, right? It's like just you can't even function because there's just constant pull of your attention. And I just think that our most valuable asset is our energy and our attention. Whatever we put attention and energy towards grows, even negative stuff. It's like if you want less of something, just starve it of attention and it'll go away, right? People don't understand that stuff though. They think that if they want less of something, they have to fight it. You don't fight it, you just stop giving it attention and it'll just go away naturally, right? So with presence, I really think it's a skill. It's like a mental habit, skill. Just being able to be exactly where you are and not need anything from the present moment. That's the trick. Because if you need something from the present moment, you're probably not going to get it. You need to just appreciate the present moment and see it as an opportunity to plant little seeds that build your future. You know, I'm right now, by my own standards, broke. By my own standards. By most people's standards, doing amazingly well. But by my own standards, broke. I've got friends of mine who have $5 million liquid in the bank. Not there yet. Right? We'll get there. Not there yet. I've got friends of mine who, you know, have had $4 million single months. Not there yet. Right? I think I'll get there. But, you know, not there yet. And the difference between here and there is just every single individual present moment. But if I'm not present, then I can't see what opportunities that moment has, right? Because I'm constantly thinking about other stuff. Like right now. The reason why I'm out here in this hot tub, smoking a cigar, in the cold, it's very present. The top part of my body is experiencing a lot of cold. Bottom part of my body is experiencing a lot of heat. So it's physically very present. It's also very quiet. There's something about the snow that just like mutes the world. It's very quiet. So it's an easy place to practice presence, right? But learning how to practice presence, like my baby, my son James, has been crying a lot because he's a baby and that's what babies do, right? And I've just been practicing like holding him and just hearing past the cries and like just literally in one ear out the other and just looking at him with a lot of love. Just being like, like you're crying right now. but I don't even really hear it. Like, it just is like not even registering for me, because it's just, there's so much love for you, you know? And I haven't been perfect at that. Like, don't get me wrong. Actually, just a couple nights ago, you know, I had a little, like, my wife and I had a little, like, mini fight even, where, like, I was just, like, mad. You know, she's trying to get some sleep and the baby was just crying. I just got so mad. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go change his diaper real quick. I'll be right back. And I just kind of did it, like, frustrated. And she was very right to be upset with me. You know, she was like, babe, you can't get frustrated. Like, he's just a baby. And I was like, you're right. I'm sorry. But, you know, I'd say a majority of the time, I'm like, I don't even hear his cries. And I've actually learned how to take that negative energy of that frustration and channel it into a positive energy of, like, being just grateful that he's alive and that he's in my life, you know? And so, but you can't do that without presence. Because if my mind was somewhere else, then I wouldn't be able to, all I'd hear is the scream. Does that make sense? But instead, I'm practicing presence. And I'm practicing being aware of the current moment and not needing it to do anything for me. You know, when you live in a state of need all the time, you're always needing things, the world responds usually in a negative way. If you're always needing something, usually the world isn't willing to give it to you, right? Because nobody wants to give to the needy. There are people who do, but usually they do it, if they're honest, out of the love of helping people. It's not always just pure kindness in somebody's heart. It's usually that they love helping people, therefore they'll give to the needy, right? And in a darker sense, sometimes it's even like an image thing. People give to the needy because they want to look like the sort of person who gives to the needy. You got like guys like Bill Gates, just a little political. Like, a big part of why I think he does all the giving is like, so he can do some other shady stuff on the side, right? But anyway, the world isn't so loving. You know, it doesn't have any vested interest in your desires. It doesn't care if you get them or don't get them. It really has no concern for whether you get what you want and what you need or not. All it cares is what you give it. And if you exist with no need and you're just giving all the time, instead of taking, and you're just giving all the time, you're always in a state of giving, filling yourself up and giving it, filling yourself up and giving it, then I think that, like, life just gets really easy and really fun, because for the first while, if you've never lived that way, it can be really draining. And this is the problem, is a lot of people, they don't have the capacity to get through that first year or two of just living in a state of giving. But then eventually, the sort of life shifts, and it moves from you're giving with no return to now you've got all these people who trust you. Now you've got all these opportunities in front of you, because people start to realize, oh, this is a giver. The dark side is you got people who see you as a stepping stone too, right? But I'd rather be a stepping stone for some people than not, because the prerequisite to being a stepping stone is that I've been a giver. And I've just, like, tried to build things that matter and just, like, live above my own need, right? But you can't be a giver if you're not present, because if you're not present, usually not being present assumes that there's something you need that you aren't getting, right? Or even deeper than that, usually it means that you just have many unsolved inner quarrels. You know, James 1:8 says, a dual-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. It's one of my favorite verses of all time. A dual-minded man is unstable in all his ways. It's such an awesome verse. I'm realizing, like, there's a lot of power in just accepting who you are and not trying to change it. And when I say power, I don't just mean it's like, oh, this feels nice. I mean, literally, until you accept who you are and you stop trying to fight it and change it, you really can't build anything that lasts. You can't build a marriage that lasts. You can't build a business that lasts. You can't build a life that lasts. Your life will end up changing because you're not accepting who you are. Right? Like and this is a very common thing in the entrepreneurial space. I'll just say this. In the online, make money on the internet sphere, you find a lot, especially young men. I see this a lot with young men. It's a lot of like, oh, that's how they dress? I'm going to dress like that, right? It's literally like down to the way that they dress. They dress like that, I'm going to dress like that. They talk like that, I'm going to talk like that. You know, it's like literally just a posturing because they don't believe that they are inherently worthy. So they put on an image. And when you put on an image, you might be able to build something for a minute. But can you really sustain that image? Like, how long can you hold that image for? That's a dangerous place to be, is you've built this whole life and this whole business around a version of you that you made. Now, there's two different types of imagery or change. There's a real change, which is a genuine bottom-up of changed my mind. I no longer believe this, I believe this. I no longer think this way, I think this way. Truly. But then there's the artificial version. The artificial version is, that works for them, I'm going to do that. I see this in our business right now. I see this like with people who follow me. Like, I appreciate it. I think it's cool that you look up to me. But honestly, like, my message is that you have it in you and you don't need to fake anything. You need to accept where you are. Stop trying to be something you're not. Just lean into yourself. And the business owners that really last a long time, they just max themselves out. They don't tape fruit onto a dead tree. They just work on the roots and the trunk, and then they just end up bearing good fruit. Right? The problem is it takes time and it takes a lot of sacrifice. But like, the thing is, if you stop caring so much about getting there and you start to just, again, be present, then it comes way quicker than you think. And you just begin to like, just love it and enjoy it. So, I hope that this makes sense, you know, because it's a message that I really needed a long time ago when I was, you know, just getting started as an entrepreneur. I think I got started off of a lot of envy, you know, and I grew up in a house that we did very well. Like, you know, I don't want to hide that. I think a lot of people have like a rags to riches story. It's not my story. My dad did really well, and I've always looked up to him, and I'm going to continue to look up to him for forever, you know. And I wanted to just make him proud. And I saw these other young men online who were succeeding, who didn't have that father, right? And I was like, oh, like, I literally had this thought. I like empathized with my 17-year-old self. I was like 16 or 17. We went through this house fire, and I just couldn't help my family. Like, I was incapable of helping my dad through that time, financially or otherwise. I didn't have the wisdom. I couldn't help. And I felt useless for the first time in my life. And I remember stumbling into these men online who were making all this money. And I was like, my dad would be more proud of them if they were his son than my dad would be of me as I am now. And that hurt. And so I started off with a lot of pain driving me, trying to prove something to myself, prove that I'm not useless. And now I think I've really evolved as a preacher into, I've proven that I'm worthy to myself, and I had to do that, by the way. But more so, now my motivation is just to build. Like, I love building cool stuff. Like, I really see myself as like a data scientist, engineer, builder. Like, even this right now, making this video, I'll be honest, it's very calculated. You know, I'm making this video, it feels very natural, just in a hot tub, whip out the phone. I want people to feel like they know me. If they feel like they know me, feel like they can relate to me, you know, maybe we'll do business at some point. Maybe you'll buy something of ours. Maybe you'll join the team. Who knows? But there's only good to come from me putting myself out there, right? So, and like, it's all in my head. Like, I see it all very clearly in my head. There's this whole vision picture of the future. It's crystal clear to me, and I'm just building it for the sake of building it, for the same reason that I used to make Minecraft mods. I used to do that. I think I've said that over and over on this channel, but I used to make Minecraft mods. Some of you can look me up. I forget the name of my profile, but if you go on planetminecraft.com and you look up bacon mod, that's me. Hook you up. But I just like making stuff, you know? And I think humans, we have such a weird relationship with money. Like, we make it so personal. And I think especially Christians too. Like, I'm a Christian. A lot of Christians have a hard time with money because they don't understand that the money's not even theirs. Like, just because it's in their account doesn't mean it doesn't belong to God. Right? Does that make sense? So it's like, to say, oh, I've made all this money, I'm rich. Like, no, you're not. You aren't worth anything. Like, compared to the almighty, omnipresent nature of God, you are nothing. And you have to humble yourself against that. Even if you're worth $100 billion, $1 trillion, you're a speck. So this whole idea of like, I don't want to make too much money, it's like, that is rooted in a false humility most of the time, or an uninformed humility. Because the truth is, money is blood. We need blood to live. We need blood, period. Like, at all. And money circulates and brings life to cultures, economies, organizations, individuals in the same way that blood brings life. So it's just a thing. It's not like an idol. It's just literally just a thing. Right? And so I think Christians do this a lot to themselves. They make it about themselves. That's why they end up not doing well. It's because they don't want to be a sinner. Right? It's like, okay, fair enough. You're already a sinner though. Like, even if you make $1 billion, you started a sinner, you ended a sinner. Making $1 billion. It doesn't change anything. All that matters, I think, and this is why King Solomon and these individuals were revered. It's because ultimately they just had a heart for God. They wanted to know God. That's all that matters. Is, do you want to know God? Do you or do you not want to know God? If you want to know God, I think he will open his arms to you anytime. But a lot of people, they have pride in their hearts. Their hearts have been hardened by our culture, by sexual vices, lust, greed, envy, ego, pride. Take the fruits of the Spirit, Google it, fruits of the Spirit, inverse them. That is what people struggle with. The opposites of the fruits of the Spirit. They're dead trees with dead fruit, right? So if you watched this far, I've got a question for you. Not now, sometime in the future. Who would be interested in purchasing an expensive mindset product from myself? Let me know in the comments. Don't spoil it for everybody else. Just say, yes, I'd totally buy that. Don't say the mindset thing. Don't ruin it for the other people. Don't spoil it. Because I don't want people to click on this video, be a minute in, and be like, is this guy promoting a product? Because I'm not. I don't have it for sale. Just say, yes, I'd probably buy that. Because I'd love to have like a room or like a community, like a facilitated environment where we can talk about mindset, self-image, money, spiritual nature of money, these things. Like, that's where the real stuff is. And if you apply it to basically any profitable, viable business model, you'll do significantly better. So the right person and view of things applied to a reasonably profitable business is much, much, much better than the wrong view, wrong person applied to an extremely profitable, massive potential enterprise. So just let me know in the comments. Yeah, I'd be interested in that. Don't have to tell people why you're commenting that, because I don't want people to feel like I'm just being promoting. Even though everything's promotion. So, yup. But yeah, that's how to be present. And I think the real trick is starting off by valuing why you should be present. Does that make sense? So knowing why you want something, step one to getting it. And I want to call on you right now that you should want to be present, because without presence, you lose your power. Because you've got this little ball of energy you wake up with every day. You've only got so much. And if you're not present, that gets spread across all these things, 70% of which exist in your mind. So your mind makes problems, and then you extend the same amount of energy solving mental problems that you would solving real problems. So you end up getting nowhere, just on a cycle. And presence is the key to unlocking a new quality of life, because now no longer are you making problems to solve all the time, which is most people. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's so gross. I hope the filter can take care of that. Oops. Let me hash this out real quick. I don't like that. I don't like making the pool water dirty. This thing sucks. Mentor who bought this for me, buy me a better one next time. It broke in like a year. I've got gas station ones that have lasted longer. Right? It looks like it costed like $100. I got ones that cost $4 that have lasted me like 4 years. Alright, I'm gonna end it there. That's just a little talk on being present. And look, I mean, I don't know. I think it's helpful. I'll see you.